Welcome to this presentation. This is a SoundScriber model S-124-C reel-to-reel tape recorder, which runs at a speed of 2.5 inches per minute. Not second, minute. This machine is designed for long play. That is, this machine is designed to record onto one reel of 2-inch wide tape. The reel is only about 3 3/4 inches in diameter. For 24 hours. That's right, a recording time of 24 hours. This is a very unique design where the head makes tracks along the tape, along the width of the tape. And the head is rotating. There's actually two heads, one for each, for 180 degrees of rotation. The head rotates at 30 rotations per minute. And doing a bunch of math, you find out that the tape speed that is seen by the head, the speed in reference to the head gliding against the tape, is calculated to be 2 inches per second. So the equivalent tape speed would be 2 inches per second, but the actual tape speed is 2.5 inches per minute. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of this strange machine. Quality isn't the best, but it's not meant to be the best sound quality machine, but more of a logging machine.
The SoundScriber is a very unique type of machine. As you noticed when I started with the close-up of the spinning head, is that you see rotating like this as a tape goes along this way. It has two heads. And it actually will record along the width of the 2-inch wide tape as opposed to the length, which makes for incredibly long recording time. It's a lot like videotape. It's also, if you've watched my past couple of videos, like this strange gaff rolls machine. Speaking of the gaff rolls machine, from the estate sale where I acquired that gaff rolls machine, I also acquired a Golden Cross 0.9mm mechanical pencil. Using this mechanical pencil, I am going to be doing some illustrations on the technology of these machines. You can see that your typical tape, such as the cassette tape, the standard reel-to-reel, and even the 8-track, records the track or tracks linearly along the length of the tape. Here, in comparison, is an illustration of the tape of the SoundScriber. Notice the direction of motion, pointing to the right. As the tape goes, the spinning head makes vertical tracks along the width of the tape. The tracks being made at 2 inches per second, with the actual tape speed 2.5 inches per minute. For comparison, you'll see the way that the gaff rolls machine does its tracks. It's basically equivalent to the way that the tracks are done on the SoundScriber in a way, but instead of rotating the head goes back and forth with the film occasionally incremented at a steady pace as opposed to a constant motion. But both boast long recording time. On one roll of GAF rolls magnetic film, which obviously I don't have, you get 7.5 hours of recording time. On one reel of SoundScriber tape, you get 24 hours of recording time. And of course, you're familiar with the various different time limits and various different recording times and tape speeds used as standard tape. A reel that had the same size or same diameter as the SoundScriber's reel ran at, say, 1 7/8 inches per second or something like that, probably wouldn't record for hardly any time at all, just a few minutes or so. Maybe I don't know, I could do the math. A few calculations here. I did some math. My mechanical pencil was my guide, as well as the calculator program on my Windows 10 computer. Doing the math, I figured out the length of tape to record for 24 hours at 2.5 inches per minute is 3,600 inches. I found out with that how many minutes that would record at if it was ran at 1 7/8 inches per second. 32 minutes. So the equivalent length of tape that would only record for 32 minutes, 1 7/8 being very close to 2. So it's the tape speed seen by the head of this machine is 2 inches per second, as we talked earlier. And with that in mind, by making the tape extra wide, you're taking that time and multiplying it greatly from 32 minutes to 24 hours. That's pretty incredible. We're going to be doing some music recording, and the machine doesn't have the best, obviously, you know, it doesn't have the best quality in the world. So, anyway, it's a very interesting device, to say the very least. Okay, so I want to show the inside of this device. Now, most SoundScribers that you'll come across online are the older vacuum tube model. I believe it's the S-124 without the C. Mine is a newer solid state model. The older vacuum tube model came out in the 1950s, I believe the late 1950s. Vacuum tube model, I mean solid state model, I don't know when it came out, but judging by all the components in this, I'm guessing this one is from the early 1970s, maybe the late 1960s. This one has 3 boards. There are some models out there that have a VAR feature, which is voice activated recording, which is just like the voice activated recording you have on a lot of micro cassette recorders. But this one does not have that feature, and that doesn't bother me that it doesn't have it, because I have little use for that feature. But I wanted to show the inside while I had it opened up. Very nice circuit boards in there. What I really like about this is its modular construction, so you can just, of course, you take these little holders off and you can just unplug the board like a computer card. Obviously the power amplifier resides there with the 2 power transistors. And of course, there's the inbuilt speaker. And then there's a motor, which you'll notice is at an angle. And this board is my favorite because it is the bias oscillator. AC bias. And this is the recording circuit board. The very nice, high quality looking audio transformer down there. 10 kilo ohms on one side and 600 ohms on the other side. Yes, I'm holding my tripod in my hand. fully aware, doing the worst video handle. Well, no, it's not the worst. Believe me, there exists worse video skills. Here's the other side of the device. You'll notice that it only has one belt, and that is a spring belt for the take-up reel friction clutch. You look at the back, and the mechanics seem incredibly simple. Heck, there's nothing even on the supply reel. The rewinding and fast forwarding on this machine is all done by manual hand cranking. But don't worry, you can rewind an entire reel of tape on this in just 2 minutes manually. A testimony to the very, very low speed of this machine. There's the rear of the circuit board. Classic bare circuit boards without that green coating. I always like the look of the bare circuit boards. They just have character to them. So anyway, here on the back you can see a set of electrical connections and an XLR jack. XLR jack is obviously for a microphone. Input selector, telephone, and mic. And then here are the connections, which have the connection for telephone, which I currently have my microphone hooked up to, and line level. The pinout I'll show next. The service manual for the tube model is actually uploaded by the Library of Congress for all to see, which I'm very appreciative of. I believe the pinout of this connection area is the same on the solid state model. Telephone input right here, line level input right here, center taps of the telephone and line level, and chassis ground. But to get a good recording, for instance from the line level, don't hook up ground in one of the lines. Actually what I ended up doing was hooking up ground and line CT. I then later found this, and then I started making a lot stronger recordings and realized that I did not need to replace any capacitors. Anyway, this is a very good service manual, very thorough. There's a picture of the vacuum tube model right there, in black and white. And anyway, that one also shows it with the take-up reel full. Interesting. So here's more of the rear of the machine. There's a switch for automatic voice control, which is automatic level control. Now, it's automatic level control and manual level control combined on this machine. The volume control will control recording level even if it's an automatic level control, but it will also be combined with the automatic level control, kind of like limiter. VAR on and off. Well, obviously the feature isn't installed on this machine, so it's not going to do anything. And then an output jack, fuse, power cord. Here's the underside of the machine with the cover taken off. And not too much. You can see there's an Omron relay, rear of the bottom connections to the plugs. And also you can see point-to-point power supply wiring, and the interesting thing here with the motor is that's not completely straight. It goes to these two things that allow the position of a turning shaft to be slightly changed. So the motor has a little bit of play to be able to move around just a little bit while still having a vertical post going into here. Then there's a couple gears that drive the capstan right here and the spring belt. Then inside this part here is a worm gear, and that worm gear will drive the rotating head. And then the rotating head is mounted on a long shaft which goes to a flywheel in this area here. For all interested parties out there, it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit in here as I make this video. Hence you hear the condensing unit of the air conditioner in operation. Yes, when you're sweating and it's 80 degrees, and when you're up in the room, it's not fun. Anyway, yeah. Yep, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, thereabouts. Now I'm in the process of recording music. Recording music onto the SoundScriber through the line level input. Let me tweak that volume controller just a little bit. It's got a little level meter. The older vacuum tube models use a flickering light. This one uses an actual meter to gauge the recording level so you can make a more accurate leveled recording with less possibility of tape saturation. Just watch how slowly this thing turns. It's remarkable to watch a machine turn its tape at such a remarkably slow rate. It's fascinating to see it move so slowly. There's something about it that's captivating to see it run so slow. It really gives that feel of logging. Slowly in the background, collecting information. Some information about the uses of this kinds of machine. I found that they, at least at one point, I think were common in radio stations for the purpose of logging a full day's worth of broadcasts, with the idea that the tape could be played back later just in case someone cusses on the air, or to check the quality, as in quality, I guess more like, you know, how well are they doing with their broadcast, and what, you know, what's it like, you know, things like that. And I'm sure they were used for other applications as well. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they were used to record police phone calls in some applications, or, you know, anything that needs long-term logging recordings. Logging machines are fascinating. And anyway, this is a very interesting song. It's called Undone by CEED. It's from a movie, a low-budget film called Lost Planet, Black Earth. It's a really catchy song, to say the very least. My favorite song out of their soundtrack. Anyway.
I somewhere I don't belong? Searching through this blackened earth alone inside this universe. I never thought this day would come. It seems to me this world.
So you got to hear how it sounds. Direct hookup. Hopefully I didn't overdrive the input. I have no access to the view meter type thing that you have on Windows Movie Maker when you're first setting up to do a video capture. But one interesting feature is the tracking control. This adjustment right here is a tracking control. Notice the difference it has? It just kind of moves the tape just a little bit extra forward, a little bit extra backwards as you turn this for the sake of aligning the tape with the track of the actual head. Kind of like adjusting the azimuth or the head alignment on a regular machine, except you have to do it live with that adjustment right there because it's not going to be perfectly aligned all the time from the get-go. Oh, I also want to put it into stop. Notice the tape is still turning, even whenever it's not in run position. It's still turning from rim drive alone. Once I engage it into run, the gate thing pushes the tape against the heads and the capstan engages. But you actually have to go to the stop to turn the motor off. Of course you want to leave it in load when you're not using it because you don't want to put a dimple on the pinch roller. And because of the metal thing that pushes against the head, that pushes the tape against the head, and it doesn't have any foam pads, and it never has had any foam pads. It wasn't designed to have foam pads. I do not recommend putting the machine into run with the motor running with no tape loaded inside, because you might risk scraping the heads. And you're not going to ever get any replacements without getting another SoundScriber. Just saying. So yes, this control over here, the tracking is very interesting, and it must operate the exact same way, basically, in principle, that the tracking control does on a VCR. Because if you don't know already, the VCR records on its tape in a very similar way. Notice, the VCR also runs its tape very slow. Remember the 6 hours you can get at SLP speed on VHS? Ever wonder why it's so long? It's because it uses the same basic principle of the rotating head. Of course, it records its tracks diagonally on the tape. Ah, broke the lead. Well, you'll get the point. Anyway, I could always get more lead out, but that's good enough. So, see, that's how VHS records. Of course, below that and above it, you have linear tracks. One for the linear audio, and the other is for synchronization, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, but it's interesting that you have the same arrangement of. This case, it's not along the width; it's diagonally, but still, you're making use of that surface area while running the machine at a slow speed. But the VHS, of course, runs its head at a very high speed in order to be able to achieve the megahertz range frequency response needed to record a video signal. So this machine and the gaff rolls machine and VCRs, videotape that is, all have that in common. A head that is put in motion, making tracks along the width of the tape in order to gain more recording time. But of course, for video, it's actually for the sake of the high frequencies. But in a way, it's more recording time. If you ran the tape in a VCR, recording the video linearly, you'd have to run the tape at a very high speed in order to attain the megahertz range needed to record the video signal, which means your recording time would be extremely short. So in a way it also uses the same principle to minimize recording time while maximizing surface area usage, making most efficient use of the magnetic tape's surface area, which I find a very interesting and ingenious design. Hope you enjoyed this. Oh, before I'm done, one quick note. Look at there. You see the number 21 printed onto the tape? Let me run the machine again. Let me rewind it a little bit too. When you're rewinding, you need to use two hands, by the way. Because obviously the tension's just too much to try to do it with one hand, and you might stretch or mess up the tape, so, or even break it, which wouldn't be good because it's 2-inch tape and it's not easy to find extra 2-inch tape to load onto a SoundScriber reel. Although I did cut a strip of this 2-inch tape off on the very beginning and before the little numbers start, for the sake of making a makeshift thing for the gaff machine. But I still don't have any 35mm film on me. My resources aren't as much as they used to be because a lot of my knickknacks still reside in Arkansas. Because I only took one carload when I moved here, and most of that carload was electronic equipment. Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. So, you'll notice those little numbers trail by, and there's also, of course, there's a little red pointer, and you'll notice these little markers. So the numbers are the minute markers on the tape, because the tape is going at a constant speed, and it's as slow as it is. Instead of employing a tape counter on the machine, they simply printed the numbers onto the tape itself with little evenly spaced markers so that you could use that as your indexing system, which I think is a really nice idea because it's easy to find where you're at. You're already rewinding it by hand. It's even more accurate than a regular tape counter would be, actually, because you're not relying on some external means to read the position of the tape. You're looking at the actual tape itself. You're going to be in exactly the same position every time. So I think that's also a very nice design, and of course the tape speed being as slow as it is, combined with how wide the tape is, why not just print the numbers right onto the tape itself? No need to add a tape counter to the machine and the extra parts and engineering behind adding that extra tape counter. Just print it on the tape. This SoundScriber is serial number A600698, manufactured by the SoundScriber Corporation, West Haven, Connecticut, USA. One interesting note is to say that the old vacuum tube SoundScriber machines were manufactured for SoundScriber by Western Electric. That in itself just sounds alluring. Because Western Electric has always been fascinating when it comes to old electronics. And the tape recorder by Western Electric was always something that I was wondering if it existed, and I thought if it does, it must be really, really, really well made and really nice. We're talking about vintage Western Electric here. I mean, heck, Western Electric's vintage to begin with. I mean, gee bloomin', man. Gee bloomin' whiz. Well, viewers, I hope you enjoyed this extra long, late night, Monday night, work night, get up at 5 in the morning night. It's 9:01 p.m., but I gotta get up at 5 in the morning, so I best go to bed soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not gonna be editing it tonight. Earliest this ever would be uploaded would be Wednesday. But if I'm going to go help my friend with some electrical things at his house, earliest upload date would be on Thursday. Today's date is the 31st of July, 2017. But obviously it's not going to be uploaded the same day it was recorded. Now if it was a weekend on the other hand and it was Friday night, believe me, upload might happen at like midnight on Saturday morning, but that's not the case here. Not the case at all. Boy, believe me, I wish it was. Time goes by so dang quick, you know. One moment, it's Friday night, you feel like partying because it's a freaking weekend. The next moment, it's Monday morning and you're on the way to work. And it's like, what the heck happened to the weekend? It just slipped right under me. Slipped right by. Sad. You know, there's a good thing and there's a bad thing to how fast time goes by. You know, the good thing is when the work day just breezes by, you know. Sad thing is when the weekend breezes by. And Monday comes coming in at 100 miles an hour and slamming you in the face. Or actually, more precisely, Sunday night comes slamming you in the face, because once you start hitting Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, you start thinking, weekend's practically over anyway, you know. Freaking work night becomes a work night. There's a difference between a work night and just a night. Friday nights are just nights. Saturday nights are just nights, but not as much nights as Fridays are. But Sunday nights, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights are all the same. Except Thursday is considered Friday Eve. Because Friday's a good day, even though it's a work day. Once that work period ends, the weekend begins. But here I am, Monday night. Monday night. Ain't that a shame? It's a bloomin' shame. Yep. Anyway, let me XL VLC media player. And file explore Lost Black Earth, name of the movie. Not Lost Planet Black Earth, I don't think. It's up on YouTube, thank you very much. Oh, that's the internet, don't want to close that out. That's where I was watching Data play Minecraft. Or I was actually more like multitasking. I was making adjustments on the SoundScriber machine while having Data play Minecraft in the background and occasionally glancing. Yeah, the machine is working off original parts. Original caps are good, but I needed to lubricate, clean, as well as, I had to clean the contacts on the contacts that touch the rotating head thing. But then also, I also had to bend the metal pieces slightly to make them touch better, because at first one of them wasn't touching all the way and you just heard nothing but a loud hum out of the amplifier. And then also had to make some little adjustments to the position of the little head thing, the little head wheel. I had to make the thing that pushes the tape down on the heads come back more by adjusting a little screw. Anyway, little tweaks and adjustments were needed to make the SoundScriber operate properly. Before, the SoundScriber was not performing very well. Recordings were intermittent, like There was a periodic period of silence in the recordings where the tape to head contact was not good at all. But obviously you can hear it is able to play continuous music now, speech recordings, so that's good. Quality isn't all that great, but then again, it's a logging machine and the speed is very slow. Yep, I wish I had more time. Believe me. I wish I had all the time in the world. I used to have a lot of time on my hands. I used to be one of those guys that had tons of time on his hands. And then April 2015 came and I started a job. And I waved goodbye to summer. Goodbye to a long, lengthy Christmas break. Goodbye to spring break. Goodbye to all that. And boy, how it hurt my soul. I'm not in college anymore, for anyone's wondering, Graduated in 2015. May of 2015. So instead of graduating and celebrating and thinking, yeah, I get to have my possibly last summer and go on some fantastic trip to celebrate graduating, instead it's like, oh, now instead of part-time with a little bit of free time left, now it's full-time with none of that free time left. So, happy graduation. Here's to less free time, It's kind of sad. And then anyway, time goes on, 2016 rolls around, and come to late 2016, and I finally move up here, and I had to switch jobs, so I had a month of time where I was unemployed, and although it's not good to be unemployed financially, the fun part is that free time. And I had a month of that free time that I could enjoy again, and believe me, that free time was precious. Then I started working again, and the free time's gone. Good thing is I get off at 3:15, and with the commute I usually get home at around 4 every day, so I got more time after work than I would have if I had gotten off at 5. So that's nice. That actually makes a huge difference. Believe me, a huge difference. That's a very positive thing to get off at 3. Of course, I start earlier, but I'm the kind of guy that prefers to start work early and end work early, because I end work early. It gives the perception of the day going by faster, when in reality, it's still the same length of a work day. But because you're getting off at 3:15 instead of 5, it psychologically feels like you get off as if it was a shorter day. So it really is a good thing to get off at that time. Anyway, I rambled on for 10 minutes almost. That's not having to do with the machine, except for the short bout that I did with talking about its TLC. Still don't know what that stands for. I guess I could look it up on Google. I know what it means. Has to do with touching a machine up, kind of tweaking, lubricating, touching it up a little bit, but it's embarrassing. I don't know what that means. And I still haven't looked it up on Google. I mean, I know what it means, it's embarrassing I don't know what it stands for. It's one of those acronyms where you hear the acronym, but you don't hear what it stands for, and you take the acronym as its own word. And then the acronym has meaning, but the letters don't stand for anything in your knowledge. Anyway, enough of that ramble. I gotta freaking go to bed. I went to bed a lot later that last night thanks to this SoundScriber than I normally would have, because I was still trying to do some adjusting on this machine. I was thinking I was going to need to put foam pads in there when I really just needed to adjust a screw to make this come down more. And then today, while watching Data play Minecraft, I was messing around with moving the head over slightly so that it was right in the center of that thing, so that it wouldn't freaking scrape the head, and also so that it would get better tape-to-head contact that way as well, hopefully. And now it's operating fairly well, not 100% perfectamundo, but it's about as good as it's going to get. And no, I did not feature the gaff machine in this video, I'm very sorry to say. Gaff machine will be featured in another video. Sometime there'll be a gaff video 3. So whenever I get 35mm film, considering the film perforations are the right spacing for the gaff machine. If it's not, I'll be beheaded, but if they are the right perforations, I'll throw a party, and they probably are. And I'll combine that with a couple of several inch long strips of the 2-inch tape from the gaff machine, and I'll be able to actually put the rolls, the gaff rolls. Oh, I think I said gaff machine when I meant SoundScriber, sorry. A couple of pieces of the 2-inch tape from the SoundScriber, and make it into a makeshift tape for the gaff machine, and then I should have myself a good machine that I can record people on and show it in proper operation. Anyway, it's 9:13 p.m. and I best be going to bed. Good night, viewers. I hope you enjoyed the video of the SoundScriber Model S-124-C reel-to-reel logging machine. But I gotta get about 5, so hope you enjoyed the video. Good night.